This video was brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it with Squarespace. Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah.
I've avoided talking about this franchise as much as possible. I don't want to help beat a dead horse. The dead horse being Marc Webb's vision for Spider-Man, and the person beating that horse being Sony, Avi Arad.
Really, Avi was in charge the entire time. Avi knows all, right?
To set the tone for this video, I now present to you a real email exchange between Nick Shore and ex-Sony chairman Amy Pascal about what should be included in the hit film The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Hey Amy, just a couple of rando thoughts from 35,000 LAX to JFK. A rising trend we see with millennials are the really extreme forms of experimental exercise like Tough Mudder, a sort of filthy triathlon, the color run, and even things like hot power yoga, veganism, etc. Millennials will often post, quote, NBD on their social media after doing it, as in, no big deal, also known as, quote, humble brag. Wondering if Spidey could get into that in some way. He's super athletic, bendy, strong, intense, and it's all NBD to him, of course. EDM, electronic dance music, is the defining music for millennials. Wondering if there's an EDM angle somewhere with Spidey. His movements are beautiful. Would be awesome with the killer DJ behind it.
I hate this song!
Snapchat just launched a story functionality, which is sort of a, quote, day in the life of me, told in a series of Snapchats that expire after 24 hours. It has a very VIP quality about it since invitation only. Getting invited into Spidey's Snapchat circle would be a huge... Getting invited into Spidey's Snapchat circle would be huge and very buzzworthy and cool.
Oh, fuck. So this is what we are dealing with. Ideas like this are what Hollywood is really looking for. But behind all that, behind all the Snapchat filters and studios desperately trying to reach the general audience, behind all that is a director. A director with a vision. A fantastic director who got dealt a shit hand. That director is named Marc Preston Webb. I love Marc Webb. He made a film that helped define me as a filmmaker and a person. 500 Days of Summer. That movie made me feel something so deep, so profound, and so human. Marc Webb likes humans. That's what he cares about, telling human stories, telling stories that are about people growing and changing. You know what good Spider-Man stories are? Human stories. Human stories about Peter Parker growing and changing. And that's what Marc Webb set out to do. Tell a grounded, lower budget, human story about a flawed boy turning into a Spider-Man. And you know what? In my honest opinion, he almost succeeded.
You dumb fuck. That movie is the definition of uninspired. Where's Spider-Man 4?
For once, I agree with you. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is a mess of a film with so many obvies in the kitchen that anything that could have been fresh, new, or meaningful is seemingly cut out for the sake of a skateboard montage and a giant fucking dinosaur.
Then why are you making this video on the movie? You fucktard hack.
Jesus, calm down. I'm still trying to get sponsored here, alright? I'm making this video to talk about one scene, or rather, one character arc that I think really works. So instead of being that typical fanboy who rants about bad renditions of beloved characters for 30 minutes, I hate being negative all the time, so why don't we take a look at a fairly average movie and try to find something that's great about it?
Ready or not, here I come.
The Amazing Spider-Man opens with a flashback where a young Peter goes looking for his father. Literally, they are playing hide and seek. I think this scene is kind of funny considering the entire film is actually about Peter Parker searching for a father figure. He gets bit by the spider trying to find closure with Richard Parker. He loses Uncle Ben because he takes the father and mother he has for granted. He creates the lizard by trying to fix Doc Connor's arm, or rather mend Dr. Connor's broken piece. In doing this, Peter is also trying to fill his own fatherless void, or his broken piece. And in doing all of this, Captain Stacy, another father figure, loses his life. One might say that The Amazing Spider-Man is about voids and filling those voids. One might say The Amazing Spider-Man is about fatherhood or Pete's daddy issues. One might also say that this opening scene of The Amazing Spider-Man is a metaphor for Peter's character arc and motivation. A young Peter Parker goes looking for his father.
You're overanalyzing again.
Am I?
The opening of a movie should be a metaphor for the movie itself. And this scene is a demonstration of that. This scene is Peter Parker looking for his father. And in a very real way, this movie is about a kid who goes out looking for his father and finds himself.
So this Peter Parker has daddy issues, okay? What do daddy issues do to a person? What does abandonment do to a kid? Well, this Peter Parker starts the film a fucking asshole. He's irresponsible, he's got that early Ditko I'm better than everyone mentality, skateboards down the hall like a real hardcore mofo, he's got a chip on his shoulder and he ain't afraid to show it. The point is, he's selfish. Peter Parker starts the film completely and utterly selfish. I think the movie loses a lot of Spidey fans when Peter is still this selfish prick after he dons the costume. We as audience members often associate the donning of the classic suit with the completion of a character arc, which is true most of the time. This is not the case with the Amazing Spider-Man. After Peter makes his wearable basketball, he's even more of a spider prick. He tortures the car thief and laughs about it the entire time, tells this cop to go fuck himself, forgets the egg, shows up late and dirty to Gwen's family dinner, causes some beef with Captain Stacy at said family dinner, and is pretty much only Spider-Man so he can find the guy who killed Uncle Ben. He doesn't like cops, he doesn't like authority, his ego has gone wild. He has no intention of helping anyone other than himself. Like I said, selfish. Spider-Man's motivation isn't guilt at this point, it's vengeance. Vengeance on the guy who killed Uncle Ben, and vengeance on everyone who ever made him feel small. Why do you think he tortures this car thief? It's the bullying victim becoming the bully. It's the kid who gets basketballs thrown at his head, throwing back.
That's not very Spider-Man-like or heroic.
Yeah, and like it or not, that's kind of the point. That's why Captain Stacy says things like this.
He's hunting down a bunch of criminals that all look the same, like he's got some sort of personal vendetta. But he's not protecting innocent people, Mr. Parker.
Peter's not protecting people. He's not doing anything remotely heroic, and the film knows it. He's not acting like Spider-Man. Not yet, at least. In The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker does not become Spider-Man here. He does not become Spider-Man here. He does not become Spider-Man here. Peter Parker finally becomes Spider-Man on the bridge. After being called out by Cap Stace for being a really good prick and a pretty shitty hero, Peter is forced to check out what the hell is happening on this bridge. Turns out the Lizard is having a bad day and is throwing a tantrum that's endangering the lives of all these bystanders just trying to get home from work. The Lizard, the antagonist of the film, then puts Spider-Man, the protagonist, in a situation that forces him to finally start acting like a hero. I'm pretty sure it's the general consensus that this scene is the best one in the film. It's definitely the most emotionally impactful scene. It's definitely the most Spider-Man scene in The Amazing Spider-Man.
What's your name?
So this kid,
Jack?
is giving off some very familiar vibes. He kind of reminds me of this other kid we've seen in the film before. Who am I fucking talking about? Oh, right. Peter is saving this boy, Spider-Man is saving this little boy, and what gives this boy the courage to climb towards Spidey? The mask. The Spider-Man mask. The idea of Spider-Man inspires hope in Jack and gives him the motivation he needs to try to save himself. There haven't been many moments like this in the film, seeing Spider-Man as an inspiration and not just some douche with daddy issues who wears spandex. No! And what happens next? Who does Spider-Man bring the boy back to?
Jack. Jack. Thank God.
His father. Spider-Man reunites this boy with his father. Spider-Man gives Jack something that Peter can never have again. Peter acts completely out of selflessness for the first time in the film, and by doing that, by finally acting like the heartfelt, sincere webhead we all know and love, he's finally able to call himself
Spider-Man.
God. Garfield really does pull off some seriously good acting with just his body movement and voice. There's a reason that this scene is one of the few beloved ones in the Amazing Spider-Man duology. This moment on the bridge is the birth of Spider-Man and everything he stands for.
And you can see him emoting through the mask, and he's realizing that he's never going to have that moment, that moment was something that was taken from him. And you feel the weight, the sort of emotional weight of what it is to be without a father in this world. Now he's shedding that and becoming the Spider-Man that we all know and love, and fulfilling his destiny.
This is the kind of character-centric storytelling the film needed more of. This is why Spider-Man is not only an inspiration to Jack, but to all of us, taking our broken pieces and pain and using that to do good to inspire others to do good. Peter will never see Ben again. He will never be able to get closure with either of his fathers, but Jack will. Watching Peter go from a victim to a vengeance-seeking victimizer to a hero is a pretty powerful arc, an arc that people seem to ignore. I just wish there was more of that. I'm willing to bet there was. Deleted scenes are like cockroaches. For every one you see on the Blu-ray, there are 100 more, hiding in Avi Arad's office, waiting to be seen. So I guess what I'm trying to say in this short ramble is that underneath this mediocre rights-keeping general audience appealing studio film, there's a beating heart full of good ideas and passion for character-focused storytelling. It's honestly pretty heartbreaking to think about what could have been. The bits and pieces we get of the Peter and Flash relationship is fantastic and real. The Peter and Gwen scenes are so real. The conflict between a caring May and a distant Peter is a great dynamic, a real, emotionally honest dynamic. Notice how many times I use the word real there? That's because Marc Webb keeps things real. He keeps things honest. People behave like people, and like I said before, Marc Webb cares about people. That's his greatest strength as a filmmaker. I really do believe that if Sony had let Marc Webb make an actual Marc Webb Spider-Man film starring Andrew fucking Garfield and Emma freaking Stone, it would have been something special that is still talked about to this day. So thanks, Mark. Thanks for caring, and thanks for trying. Sorry you got fucked by Sony from 35,000 LAX to JFK. Marc Webb was a victim of studio interference. He wasn't allowed to create what he wanted to without someone looking over his shoulder. You won't have to worry about any of this when you use Squarespace. With Squarespace, you can create a domain, make a website, and run an online store all on your terms. It's pretty simple too. I'm an idiot who makes too many videos about Spider-Man. I could figure it out. Imagine what you intellectuals could do. If you're already in an abusive relationship with another web host, don't worry. It's never been easier to transfer your domain name. By transferring to Squarespace, you can start building your brand. They have an ever-changing array of templates so you can personalize your website so it reflects your vision. Want a Spidey EDM themed site? It's all NBD, or no big deal when building your brand using Squarespace. Have questions? Great. Their award-winning 24/7 customer support will be there to support you, even if you're flying 35,000 LAX to JFK or competing in a filthy triathlon. So what are you waiting for? Go to squarespace.com/HiTopFilms or just take 2 seconds and click that special link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase. So yeah, click that link in the description and start building your brand, your career, your life today.